Trin said she doesn't want to be any shots except for far away. Making sure I get her in every shot now. So we're checking out our corn. We use this to grow to keep nematodes out. Normally you do it for like 2 years, but I think we just had some bad weather. So we grew sweet corn in our fields for at least like I think 1-2 cycles already. So like 2/3 of a year. And now we're gonna get ready and start planting our special project. So we got rats in the field again. This is one of the big issues that we deal with when you're surrounded by other commercial farms. When they treat for rodents, they come to your farm. So there's always that. So these are just really small, kind of got attacked. We had a lot of crazy weather. So I'm gonna go do my normal checks and kind of see what's going on at mini greenhouse first, and then we'll kind of test the soil. Of course, always bring your tool. I'm gonna be like a spokesman for this company soon enough, but any EC meter will work. And I just kind of want to see what's going on with the soil. I had them do their normal fertigation. As you can see, even without fertigation, we grow just amazing stuff because it just rains constantly here, and we have bee farms around us. But as you can see, as I see, we've got massive flower bloom on here, and it looks like they're fertigating now. So they did report last time that there was some blockages and whatnot in the line. So I'm just going to check to see that the bed's wet. You're just looking to see that the bed has actually got water on it. I'm looking at the health of the plant while I do that. Now again, protected culture like this, or semi-protected, we're starting to get fruiting into our plants, and it feels like it's about to start to rain. So we got fruiting going on. We got massive flowering and fruiting together. So it looks like everything's looking pretty good for that. That's going to change a little bit of our treatments, because now that we set fruit, we want to protect that fruit. So other than that, I mean, this looks pretty good. The soil looks really nice. I'm going to try to get in there. So soil looks really good. I don't see anything else. And this is with no plastic mulch. So we really tested the plastic mulch versus out plastic mulch. I think you just get a better grow with your soil able to breathe. So one of the best things is just remove the plastic mulch. It actually becomes a rat haven anyway, and that's no fun for anybody to deal with. So this one we really focused on no plastic mulch, and looks like everyone's responded pretty well. It at least allows me to put some EM spray. Pretty much it's like bacteria and yeast, helpful bacteria. It allows your soil to break down and breathe a little bit better. So once that gets taken in, your soil and your plant respond a lot better. As you can see, just a ton of tomato flowers. So this variety is the Avatar. We haven't planted it yet, so it's good to see that it did really well. Like always, I'm always listening to see if there's anything there, and of course I get sprayed right in the face with the hose. But other than that, I don't see too much going on with this house. It seems like it's really responded well to our programs. Again, it's about 4 feet high. It grew a little bit and put on a massive amount of flowers in 1 week. We weren't able to make it back. Just we have crazy weather. It was raining nonstop every day last week. So this is when having a nice roof above your plants allows you to continue production, because a lot of farmers in our Facebook groups and everything were pretty much showing happy plants like this a week later, dead, just utter devastation. So that's very tough, because you can't treat it with any method other than soil type things, and you have to do it so far ahead that I'll link some videos that I've seen kind of on how EM and bacteria and everything work in the soil, and you want to prevent diseases. We're at a stage where a plant needs as much nutrients because it's setting all its fruit set, and it's going to be one of the big things. One thing I would like to go over. All right, how do you determine whether your tomato is determinate or indeterminate, and what happens when you plant determinate tomatoes? Now, there's a lot of things when it goes to indeterminate. You do get a plant that will grow indefinitely. It'll grow as long as it is. I think there's been a lot of case studies where some people have had like the same plant growing for like 20 years in a greenhouse. It's amazing. But determinate ones, they do something really unique. So when you have reached max production, let's see if we've done it. It's gonna kick off, instead of kicking off a normal runner, they're just gonna kick off a flower pod. And once they kick off that last flower pod, that last part, that's when your determinate crop has reached its pinnacle, its apex. So this one, it kicked it off, but it looks like it has another sucker right there. So flower pod, and if it was ending its life cycle, it would just kick off this flower pod, and then that would be it. And that would be the sign that your crop has matured to the maximum height that it's ready to, hence why it's determinate, and that's it. So that's one of the cool things that I learned reading, because I always ask that same question. If indeterminate produces so much more fruit, why is anybody planting determinate varieties? And the only thing I can think of is, like, you want to have like an early, mid, and late, especially if you're another type of climate cultures. Us, we have like rainy and not rainy right now, it seems. So what you could do is you could start one variety at one time, one at another. Another thing that we do is our trellis system with determinate. You can just stake them and twine them all in together and like sandwich them together. But what I like to do, and I found was a better production, is you still grow determinate, but you attach them to the lines above, and I find that just works a lot better. So I figured I'd just share some tomato knowledge that I got. I'm gonna go check out greenhouse 1. See what I mean? I'm just trying to make sure she's always in the backdrop, just like stalking her, just watching her wander around the farm aimlessly, wondering what to do. All right, so we checked mini greenhouse. Our tomatoes look good. It looks like a good variety, so we're off to a good start. Most of the plants up and down are all about putting on fruit, so that's pretty good. Let's see, we'll make it over to greenhouse 1. We'll do a little bit of checking there. This is the one that I kind of want to see. This is our hot peppers in bags, so we're gonna go check them out and see how they're doing. This is the one that really does need an EC meter. It's the one that you can drive a little bit hotter and push, and it's in a bag, so it can only hold so much before it flushes itself out. So let's go take a look. I know, it's like I open like every door and jump through every footbath. One of our methods is we prune it up, and this is what happens when you talk about like that V. We got the V, but it's gigantic. But if you think about it in a logical way, now we don't have to bend over when we want to pick our mycelium. These things get big. So again, we've already allotted for another 4 foot of growth on these plants. So now we're just going to maintain these things, because you're going to get the biggest peppers off this main stem versus the side branches. I know a lot of other people would do a lot of other ones, and it's like, okay, but if you actually think about like what you're trying to do, you want to provide the best quality pepper, and the best way to do that is to let it grow up. And these guys, like if you saw other videos, these guys get insanely bushy and big. So I hope you like to prune, because these guys are the ones that really need it. So we got a little bit of mite attack on this one. That's normal. Looks like they already topped the other one over there, and it's already looking like it has put on some extra new buds, which is great. This is the perfect time to do it. Pruned up really nice too, and we do this mainly just for airflow. If you have airflow at the bottom, you don't have to worry about the top. So I've seen 3 plants with mite or had mite. Looks like they chopped them all out, but for the most part, not too bad. And the slower and cooler our weather, the better. Plant maintenance, especially your peppers, they just really get attacked by mites, at least what we encounter the most. So these guys are still very much in vegetative state. I don't see a lot of flowering up at the top, and so we're gonna keep them in vegetative state for probably another couple of weeks, and then they're just gonna fully bush. And that, oh, nope, I spoke too soon. These guys have already started to flower over there. I'll go down that row. So those guys are already starting to flower. We could pick them and whatnot. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that we're applying boron and calcium, because you don't wanna have flower drop. Every flower dropped is a wasted pepper. I know it seems kind of silly, but one of the things you just wanna make sure you're applying the correct type of nutrient, and that right now is boron and calcium. Just one of the easier ways to remember it. So yeah, don't see too much other than what we've talked about in past videos with this. They're doing a good job with the maintenance. They're keeping it clean. We're starting to start out onset of flower set, and when you see it here, just be nothing but white petals of flower. So that'll be really good to see. So it'd be nice to have a good experiment of the bags and hot pepper, because if we can do that and we can keep it growing perpetually, then that's better for us, better for our farms, profitability and everything like that. So really nice. I'm really happy with this. Fertigation looks good. There's nice bright green without being like sickly yellow green. I would like these to be a lot bushier, but I think the guys just came in and pruned them up within the past week. It seems like they already started the adjustment, so that's okay. We can always grow it back. Again, you can see that your pepper plant, look at that, it has so many nodules. So each one of those will be another bush, and it'll just keep going. Because we topped it, it's gonna stay a little bit shorter. It won't stop it outright. It'll stop it for like a couple of weeks, maybe a month max, and it'll go right back to producing. It's one of those things with your pepper plants, especially your tiny pepper plants, they just really grow big. So other than that, not too much. I think we're gonna go mosey on over to greenhouse 2, which is our Diamante East-West tomatoes, and then I'm gonna do a couple of nutrient checks inside these bags and then just kind of go around. But yeah, easy day. Once you get everything running into the season and everyone's on top of their task, pretty easy after that. It's just checking and maintaining the health program, and that's why I got this guy. So I'm gonna go take a look at that. So this is Trina. We're stalking her. Told you I'm trying to get all the videos I can, so we're gonna harvest some of our fruit trees. I'm gonna go over some boring stuff like disinfectant and how important that is to your crop. So when you do greenhouse management or pretty much anything, you need to disinfect. So we have these little Footbaths, because a lot of people don't realize that what they track into their greenhouse actually causes a lot of the problems if they go out there. Same if you touch your hands or your tools and you don't clean them off. So it's always like wash hands and tools, right? It's one of the big things with agriculture and a lot of other sanitary things that just got to make sure. So we have a 3-system foot bath that everybody walks in and walks out, and we just change that out, and it's a simple bleach mixture. So here we go. We got greenhouse 2. This is the East-West Diamante. We have grown this variety before. This one did really well. It's a little bit behind because it was one that was leftovers in the first planting, so we had enough for other greenhouses, so it's the leftover ones. Otherwise, I mean, it's looking pretty good for about a week or 2 weeks probably behind even our baby ones. I think I mentioned in my other videos, this is the baby ones, but as you can see, if you feed it, they will grow, and if you provide the right ambient environment, they will really take off. So looks like everyone's responded really well. Minimal crop loss. Again, these are local East-West and Condor variety seeds, work really good. These are Determinate tomatoes. So now that I know what I'm doing with Determinate, we just kind of switched over our crops to do Determinate, and it looks like it's really good. And we're just doing a simple drip system. And it said, again, no row covers on these. So you can see very minimal weed. Once you do a good weed flush, you don't have to worry about too much. And then we just water for about 30 minutes, an hour a day. Depends on the weather, right? Because these guys are into soil, they can be watered a little bit more than other ones, but everyone looks pretty good. You have some that are getting a little bit bigger, or you have some that are a little bit stunted. That could be just they were left in the trays a little bit. So we're just kind of feeling it out right now. They'll always produce. It just kind of messes with when you fertigate, because you want to be able to fertigate the same row, the same amount consistently, because if one plant that's at a different stage needs more nutrient, then you have to go into foliar sprays. And foliar sprays work really well. They're definitely one of our key things. You have to do a combination. You have to do a lot of organic, and then you have to do a little bit of chem, and you got to take care of the plant and you got to protect it. So it kind of all fits in together. You can't just do one solid method. If you just did one solid method, completely organic, completely chemical, we would probably starve to death. That's just the truth of it. You can grow other things, and it takes a lot of time, but one of the things is that when you're trying to learn, you need to kind of lean on some of the technology. As long as you use the technology correctly and all your applications and know what you're doing. That's the problem, is people aren't reading and they're just kind of making assumptions, and that's one of the biggest things to agriculture, is that you have to read, you have to work together, and you have to figure out how everything goes together. Because if I just went and did like straight chem, I'd kill all my bacteria in the soil, and then I wouldn't have anything, and I have bad soil. But then because we take care of our bacteria, we feed it, we nurture it, same thing. So that's one of the big things, is you have to find the balance between both. And the ideal goal is to always go to completely organic. You can't control the weather. That's why we're back in the greenhouses right now, getting that up. So no worries there. But yeah, this has been pretty good. I see a little bit of leaf miner. I see a little bit sizing issues. That's really probably on my bad for getting those out there. But again, we're just going to nurture them along. And that's why we have separate lines. I would go back into another irrigation speech. So you have irrigation and you have different lines. Well, you can use these things and you can pinch them off, twist them off, tape them off, and you can feed one a different mixture and feed another one another mixture. If you start noticing that, hey, this one needs a little bit of nitrogen, this one needs a little more phosphorus, or whatever you have it, or this one needs more Epsom salt or sea salt. So you have a lot of those type of things too. So other thing that you can do is, like, we have the slow release phosphorus, the slow release fertilizer. So we have natural organic already put in there, chicken dung, vermicast, everything in there, cocoa phosphorus, natural phosphorus. So we have everything already in the ground. And then now we're just letting the plant take up, and then we just supplement it with our fertigation program. And then we provide good health management. And then now I'm just going to take some measurements and do some checks and then take a look at health management. But otherwise, these crops are looking really good. We'll stop back in. Get it. Get that spiky fruit. I feel it's like watching the kids. Get it, pull. Don't break that branch. Don't you do it. See, it's not ready. Otherwise, they just pop right off. Good job.